Welcome to Stacking Reps. In this video we're going to use the knowledge of the spaces to quickly learn stacking reps. If you haven't already, please check out the first and second video. A rep happens when the rope forms a loop around a body part. It can be the lead arm, the face, mostly the neck, anchor arm, anchor leg, lead leg, or any part of the torso. Now, the spaces between these body parts is where the rope travels through. We have the lead face, lead arm space, we have the anchor face, anchor arm space, anchor leg, anchor arm space, anchor leg, lead leg space, lead leg, lead arm space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Now the rope can enter these spaces either coming in from the front or from the back. It can enter space from the front, or the rope enters the space from the back. When the rope forms a loop around a body part, this is what we call a rep. If we're stacking reps, we're adding more loops around body parts. This can be the same body part, or this can be a new body part. Remember that the rope can be placed high up on a body part, or it can be low on a body part. Same goes for the legs. When we do the first rep, we can pick any space we want going in from either the front or the back. So we've got 5 spaces, and we can enter them from the front or we can enter them from the back. In this example I'll be doing a dragon rep. That's my first rep, and I'll be stacking other reps on top of that one. This is what a dragon rep looks like. A dragon rep is basically a torso rep. I'm wrapping my torso, the rope is forming a loop. It goes from my anchor hand, it goes around my torso, back into my anchor hand. The rope goes into my lead leg, lead arm space from the front, and it enters the anchor face, anchor arm space from the back. From this position in my dragon rep, I'm going to add my next rep that I'll be stacking on top of this dragon rep. We are now in a dragon rep. Now we're going to stack another rep on top of this. This is where the spaces theory comes in handy, because now we can see we have a whole lot of options. We can either go into the anchor face, anchor arm space. We can go into the anchor leg, anchor arm space. We can go into the anchor leg, lead leg space. We can go into the lead leg, lead arm space, or we can go into the lead arm, lead face, lead arm space. So as you can see, just from a dragon rep, we already have all these options. In this example, I'm going to pick the anchor face, anchor arm space. I'm now in this position, but for the rope to form a loop, I'll have to pick another space. I'm going to turn around. Now, the rope has entered my anchor face, anchor arm space, but from here, yet again, I have multiple options. I could go into the anchor leg, anchor arm space, and enter it from the back. I could go into the anchor leg, lead leg space. I could go into the lead leg, lead arm space, or I could go into the lead face, lead arm space. My first rep is a dragon rep. My second rep is a neck rep that I have stacked now on top of it. You can follow the dart path. From my anchor hand it goes into my lead leg, lead arm space. It travels around going into my anchor face, anchor arm space. Then from my thumb it's going back into that space, in my anchor face, anchor arm space. It's going to go wrapping my neck. It's coming back into my lead face, lead arm space, back into my anchor hand. As you can see, I have a little bit of rope left. From this position again, using the spaces, again I got a ton of options. I can go into my anchor face, anchor arm space, or I can go into my anchor leg, anchor arm space. I could be adventurous, try to get it to go through my anchor leg and lead leg space. I could try to throw it under my lead leg, lead arm space, and I can throw it into my lead face, lead arm space. In this example, I'll throw it in the lead face, lead arm space. Again, I can turn around and I got all these options again. Again, anchor face, anchor arm space. Let's come over here, lead leg, lead arm space. The rope isn't long enough anymore to go into my anchor leg, lead leg space, but I could go into my lead leg, lead arm space. From here, I did a dragon wrap, neck wrap, arm wrap. I've now stacked 3 wraps using my knowledge of spaces. Once you start stacking your own wraps and finding new combinations by using the spaces, you'll notice that sometimes you can throw the rope, but sometimes you cannot. I'll use the example I just did. It's a dragon wrap, neck wrap, arm wrap. Now, this combination, I'm holding all the rope in my anchor hand. This is called an empty knot, because when I let go of the rope, everything comes free, and yes, I can throw it. So this is called a yes knot. Yes, I can throw it. But if I were to do almost the same combination, dragon wrap, just a slight difference in the path it takes. Instead of going into my anchor face, anchor arm space, for this neck wrap, I went into my lead face, lead arm space. And now, I'm still holding the empty knot, but now if I release it and I throw it, I'm still stuck. So, no, I can't throw it. This is a no knot. Please read Frank Hetz's book, Modern and Traditional Rope Dart, to learn more about empty knots and yes knots and no knots. Now, what I like to do is just randomly go into wraps using every knowledge I got from the spaces, and then seeing if it's a yes knot, and if it's not, figuring out a cool way to get out of it and release the rope. By following along my spaces videos, I hope you can now easily figure out how to do single wraps, have learned a bunch of space changing techniques, and you have also now learned how to use spaces to learn stacking. You can now, on your own, try to figure out cool ways to combine all these techniques. Show you an example. I am using stacking and space changing techniques to make my own wraps.